Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan. We're taking a look at a Toyota MR2, this one here from 1997. This one here they consider their Rev 3 or later generation, has the higher horsepower, 250 horsepower engine, 129,000 kilometers on this one, and it looks fantastic. For the semi-medium mileage, it looks like a lower mileage car. So we'll take a look at the car, compare it to the car's inspection sheet at Japanese auction, then we're going to be sending this one off. This one's going over to Canada. Let me just double check that to make sure that... No, it's not. This one's going over to the country below Canada, not to the hat, it's going to the pants. And of course, have the headlights in the up position because I love those pop-up headlights. Okay, I'm going to switch the engine off and then we'll take a look at the details. We'll compare this to the auction inspection sheet. And I'll tell you any of the issues that I noticed with the car. Now, mechanically, the car looks pretty much perfect. I couldn't find anything that was bad except for maybe a little bit of a rattle from a heat shield in the exhaust, but that's basically it. The engine, yes, it's in the rear, so this is a rear-wheel drive, two-seater sports car with the engine in the middle. Kind of like a Ferrari, kind of like a Fiero. Actually, kind of like a good Fiero. You get a 2-liter turbocharged engine. Here in Japan, you got the 2-liter non-turbo, then the 2-liter turbo. In the States, they got the 2-liter turbo or the 2.2-liter non-turbo, which is a little bit strange. The 2-liter turbo, maybe less torquey, more revvy, probably about the same amount of power, maybe even a little bit more. And then the turbo version, you get a 2000 twin entry turbo. What's a twin entry? Well, it's like a turbo housing thing. It just gives you a faster spool time by putting 2 of the cylinders into one entry port and 2 into another entry port. I think it's good for flow. Make sure that the wastegate doesn't take up too much space. Besides that, it's not really that fantastic. I don't know what cars have them and which cars don't, but you know, it was a selling point enough to put a sticker on it and be in the advertising here in Japan and outside. Like I said, engine looks fine. We have timing belt change in 2012 at 100,956 kilometers, according to that. Wow, very windy. I got 2 wind socks on the camera right now, a foam one and a hair one. I don't know if you could hear that, but it almost blew me over. The coolant needs to be replaced. It looks like it hasn't been replaced in a while, so make sure you change that. Do change the engine oil. You don't know how long it's been in there. Let's go ahead and remove this so that we can lower it. Okay, and yeah, you're supposed to drop that. I know some people in the comments are like, you're tuning the car meanly. No, you're supposed to drop a hood. You can click it in with your hand, but that can be a little bit tricky and sometimes can bend your hood. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's go take a look at the auction inspection sheet here. Okay, so 1997 MR2. This is all in Japanese, but I'll translate for you. GT, auction rate 4, interior C. I think the interior should be a B. It's actually better than you would think. This is a one-owner vehicle, and you actually have to have proof if you're going to sell it as a one-owner vehicle. And the report here says steering wheel wear and cracked, seat peeling and cracks. It is a half leather seat. Wheel scratched and peeling. Underside has some surface rust. Rear panel, lower section dented. Very small scratches, small dents. Mirror scratched. And then repair marks on the upper facing portions of the body. Now this one here, actually the whole car has been repainted in the original black. You can tell, you can't tell that much. I mean, if you have the eye for it, you'll be able to tell. But it does look otherwise just like a glossy and nice car, because most people aren't going to critique your paint or even notice when it does have some repaint marks, i.e. paint wave or orange peel. Okay, scuff on the front bumper, rock chip here, and it says U1, U1, A1, AU1. Check on our website for details on what that means, but basically a U is a small dent. And I'll actually show you, because we got one right here. Here's a U1. So there are 2 of these on the car and then some minor scratches. Overall, I think you can be pretty happy with the body on this. So let's take you for a tour around it. And man, those pop-up headlights, I must say, it doesn't work on a modern car. They all look silly if you were to Photoshop it with some pop-up headlights. But 80s and 90s cars, the pop-up headlights were fantastic. And it seemed like Japanese manufacturers did it better than anyone else. Like the RX-7, all three generations of the RX-7 had pop-up headlights. And then the MR2, well, 2 of the 3 had pop-up headlights. And then the Supra did. No pop-ups on Skyline, but there was on Silvia. Or, there was. On the S12 Silvias. Miata, of course, in the first generation Miata. By the mid-90s to late 90s, they kind of went out of favor, crash standards and complexity and cost and whatnot. But yeah, love it. Okay, the next generation after this, not the next generation, I'm sorry, the final version of this generation got a Beams engine like the Altezza one with just a little bit less horsepower. I think it's 180 or so with a non-turbo. And that's really the one that I would like to try to drive. Although the turbo one, of course, 250 horsepower would be faster, and this is the ideal one for most people. We got glass headlights here. We have some fade in the markers there, and then, glass fog lights. Wow. Okay, you can see that the car has a lot of pollen on it. Yeah, it's seasons changing here in Japan, so pollen is a reality on all the cars that we shoot. They come in from the auction, we shoot them, and then we boot them off to the port to be sent. So small amount of damage here in the mirror. We also have this, which is a paint stain in a couple of areas. This one here is an intake for your air filter, so it's functional. It says twin cam 16 turbo. 16 is valves. Back in the 80s and 90s, the 16 valve was a cool thing. Now every car is a 16 valve or more. 16 valves. Oh, wait a second. Is the 1KZ a 16 valve engine? That definitely is. That one I'm pretty sure is. That's a 4.8 liter V8. That's a 16 valve. That's a 16 valve but single cam. Anyway, now this one here is an intake for your intercooler, which is off to the side. Okay, and we have a decently sized trunk in this. The trunk is bigger than in the Lotus that I drive. Oh, I just popped the wrong one. Popped the back one there. But it's not a lot bigger. Okay, it has the dealer option mat in here that says Toyota. That's a nice little bonus. And even though it's not that big, it's still usable for what it is. It's bigger than a Miata trunk by far. And this is a car that I guess you could compare an awful lot with a Miata because it's a 2-seat sports car. Oh, and this one is the metal top. That's the one most enthusiasts want. Even though the T-top can be very nice to have the wind in your hair, it is heavy, tends to leak sometimes, and it's heavy, and it's made out of glass, and people don't like the weight up above. Yeah. Let's put this back into place. Yeah. Okay, to the interior, which has lots of space for you bigger gentlemen or gentle ladies. Because it's a 2-seater, you can fit your legs into it, or other things. All of this is in good condition. This is all in good condition. Nice, these one-owner vehicles, people tend to take better care of it than a used vehicle. Seats. Remember it said peeling on it? Sorry, I had to wipe a mosquito off of my arm. So here's the damage. You can see some cracking in the leather. Because it's real leather, you can repair that fairly easily. Some in this section too. It is far better than I expected. Here's the steering wheel crack. There's the equal sized tear on the other side as well, and then a little bit of wear damage in other areas. Dual airbag in this one because it's a later model of the SW20. Floor mat has a bit of peeling on the MR2 badge. Okay, gauge set is very simple. You got your speedometer and your tachometer, making it very easy to see what your revs are at. You also have a little boost gauge here. It's kind of funny, cars with OEM boost gauges, because you don't know how much boost that you've got. It feels like aftermarket boost gauges are where it's at. CD player here. AC works nice and well. The shift knob on these is very short, very similar to a Supra. But it's not very far away from your steering wheel, making it very easy to shift. I find e-brake handles come up a little bit high to be aesthetically pleasing, but who's caring when you're not driving? Nice and clean, more peeling on the MR2 logo there. Passenger seat is good. It kind of has the look of dried out leather over there. So there is that. You can probably do something to soften that leather back up. And then hasn't been smoked in. Cigarette lighter's right there. Has no bad smells on the interior. It is just a good, clean car. Okay, so I guess that's going to be it. It started to rain now, so I guess it's good that the report is done. Hope you enjoyed this one. The SW20 is a fantastic car, and this one's in good condition. So very good to the new owner of this, who is not in Canada, is in Los Angeles, or at least that's the port that we're sending it to. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.